So hi, this video is going to be about how I do my winged liner. It's going to be a fairly simple video, hopefully. I'm going to show you two products that I use. They're both liquid liners to line my eyes. I'm going to talk about a felt tip liner and a brush tip liner. So these are both black liquid liners. They just, like I said, one has a felt tip, so it's kind of more like a pen or a marker rather. And this one has a brush tip, just like a paintbrush, like a very small thin paintbrush. So I'm gonna show you these two methods. Me personally, I love my brush tip because it just gives me better, I find, color payoff. I mean, you can't really see it now because they're both looking pretty good, but I just prefer my brush tip. It gives me a little bit better color payoff than my felt tip, depending on the brand. This one is from Milani and it's called Eye Tech Extreme Liquid Liner, and this one is from NYC. So if you want to see how I got these winged liners on each eye, stay tuned and let me know what you think. So basically I'm going to use two different liquid liners. Now I prefer liquid liners for me because they're always the blackest. So these are both actually black liquid liners, but they're two different brands. So this one is NYC Liquid Liner that is very popular but is now discontinued, and a lot of girls are like outraged that it's gone, and I am also one of those girls because I love this liner, and I've been using this liner I think since I was in college, and that was like, this one is from Milani. So the difference between the two I'm going to show you is the one from Milani has a felt tip. Now, I personally do not love the felt tips. I don't find they give as sharp of a line and they're not as precise. And the one from NYC is a brush tip, which I much prefer. It gives a sharper line. For me, it's easier to use and it has more color payoff than a felt tip liner. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with the felt tip, and I'm just gonna make a very basic line. I'm not gonna make a winged liner, I'll get into that a little bit later, but I'm just gonna start with the basic line so you can see how I just get a line. So I'm literally just gonna take the felt tip and I'm gonna start to paint. I just started on the inside of my eye and I'm just gonna draw a line on my line. It's easiest, I find, when I kind of look down into the mirror because then I can see my lid better. So I'm just going to line it really quickly, easily with the felt tip. I would say a felt tip would be best for beginners because it's literally like using a pen or a pencil and just painting, or drawing rather, the line on your eye. So this is just a basic line that I did. Now for the winged part, how I do it to make it easiest is I usually start with the bottom. Okay, so what I would do is I would kind of line up my tip with where my bottom lash line would kind of continue. So if I had to take a line and continue the bottom of my lash line, that is how I would make my actual wing for my liner. So I'm just gonna start with the actual line. So I'm just gonna, sometimes you gotta paint it onto the back of your hand to make sure that there's enough product there. As you can see, it's kind of skippy. So I'm just going to do that. Yeah, this is also why I don't love it. It's not as smooth. So as you can see, just the line, nothing connected. And then what I do is I go from almost the outer corner of where I started the wing, and I kind of just bring it in like that. See? It looks kind of crazy for now, but then what you do is you basically just fill this part in. So you would go from the top line and connect it back to the line of which I had already drawn, if that makes any sense. So I'm just going to paint that in, but that is essentially how I would draw my winged liner. So that's that eye with the felt tip. And now I'm going to use the brush tip. So for me, I mean, this is pretty black. It looks really nice, but for me, this is definitely my go-to. Also start with just a basic line across my eye. Do you see how much more product payoff that gives this type of liquid? So there, basic line, no wing. And now I'm going to do like I did on this side, with my brush tip. So basically I dip in again, but I kind of don't want too much product on it because I want the tip of my brush to remain kind of pointy. So I kind of clean it off so that the tip is pretty sharp and there's not too much product on it. I would say go in with a really light hand to start, because if you press too much it's kind of going to smudge because it is more paint-like than the felt tip. So what I would do here is I would do the exact same thing. I would pull it up with a very light hand, and then I would pull it in again from the side, see, just a line, and then I would just pull this in to connect it. Once again, there's a big gap there, and so I'm just gonna color that in. This is definitely a harder product to work with than the felt tip, well, for some, but for me I just like the result so much better of using this one. I don't have to go over too many times to get the color payoff that I want. It just gives me that color payoff in one shot that I'm looking for. So that's it. So this side is my felt tip side, and this side is my brush tip side. That's kind of the idea of how I would do my winged liner. There's another way that you can do it, and the easiest way for that is to cheat, really. Well, cheating. Not cheating, but to simplify your life. What I would use for that is just good old Scotch tape. So basically what you would do is I just take a piece of tape. What I like to do is, because it's very sticky and the skin around your eyes is very sensitive, what I would do is I would kind of just put it on the back of my hand once and rip it off, which kind of would take off some of the glue from the tape so it's not too sticky. And I would do the same thing. I would kind of line it up where my eye would end. Oh, see, there you go. And then you can just paint. You have to be more careful when you're coming on the inner side, but then you could just kind of paint, and then once you take your tape off, you'll have the exact line that you would want. Even if you paint it all over the tape, you take it off and there you go, there you have it. Your line will be perfect. So I hope you guys like this video. It's something very simple, instructional. If you want to look a little bit more fancy or made up, maybe for the office or for a night out, obviously if you add lashes to this, it's really going to pop. What I also like to do most of the time is that I would just take a regular black pencil liner and I would line the inner rim to really have that cat eye effect. Or if you want your eyes to kind of stay a little bit more open like this, you don't have to add any to the bottom, but it's preferable. It makes it look a little bit more finished, I would say. But I'm kind of liking how this is looking right now, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And obviously you would add Miss Manga by L'Oreal. I would just add, you know, a couple of coats of mascara to make your lashes more visible. And mind you, you can do this however you want. You can make the line thicker, you can make the line thinner, you can make the line shorter. You don't have to go as far as I did. It's all personal taste. You need to try to see what it is that you like and what you don't like. This is all up to you. So I hope you guys like this video, and if you have any questions, just leave the comments down below and I will respond to you. Thanks!